my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about makeup brushes and the brushes that I would recommend, ones that I use on the daily. And this video is not sponsored by any of these companies. I truly love all of these brushes and I've purchased them all on my own. So I'm going to start off with the first thing that I wanted to talk about, which is actually in my giveaway. So if you haven't entered that, it's already up actually. So just go enter that. And I'm actually giving away one of these, and this is the Real Techniques Beauty Blender, and this sponge is amazing. It's what I use to blend in my concealer, and sometimes I will use this for foundation. You just wet it under the faucet and squeeze out the water, and then it will kind of expand and get bigger. It's wet right now because I just washed it. So this just blends in your foundation amazing. If you're having problems blending in your foundation, this just blends it in so easily and it looks airbrushed. So I would really recommend a beauty sponge. This one is by Real Techniques. You can find this at Ulta or probably online, but yeah, there's also the beauty blenders that you can buy at Sephora. They're $20. This is probably around $7 or $8, and I like this one better than the beauty blender, but I also used the beauty blender for years, so either one of those would work. But yeah, I love this, so I would highly recommend this if you're looking for a way to just blend in your foundation. Also, I like to switch it up, and I use the Morphe E31. This is a foundation brush, and it looks like this. It has like a flat top, and it's a little dirty because I used it today, but like I said, it's the Morphe E31, and the Morphe brushes are just amazing. You can go to the Morphe website, and each brush that I talk about, you can type in the search bar and find them, and I just would really recommend. They're not crazy expensive, and they're just really worth the money. They work amazing. So this one I use to buff my foundation in. I kind of just stipple it on my face like this. You don't really want to like rub your foundation in because it's just gonna make a mess and move your foundation around. You just kind of want to blot it into your face, and then you can buff it a little bit afterwards after you kind of melt it into your face. So this I like to use on and off between the beauty blender and the brush, but I would really recommend this brush. It is an amazing brush. So next for face, this one is actually pretty new to me, and this is the Morphe M523, and it looks like this, and I really have been loving this for doing my contour. I really like this brush because you can really just get a nice contour with it and kind of buff it out after, and it just works really nicely for that. This is the M523. So if you're looking for a contour brush, then you should try this one because it's really nice. Now for blush, I love this brush, and this is the Morphe E4, and it is in the shape of a little angle, and as you can see, I have some blush on there. I use this as well today, and this just fits perfectly right on your cheek. Like, it just smooths the product on so nicely, and just, it's so soft. Like I said, it's such a nice brush, and this is the Morphe E4. So if you're looking for a blush brush, please try this one. This one is amazing. You will not regret it. So for setting my under eye concealer, you always want to set your concealer with a powder when you are finished, so that way it doesn't crease and it stays in place all day. This is the Sigma tapered highlighter brush. Sigma is another brand of makeup brushes that I absolutely adore. Morphe and Sigma are my all-time favorite makeup brush brands, so I would highly recommend both of them. They're both really amazing, and this, like I said, is the Sigma tapered highlighter. It's the F35, and it looks like this. And this fits perfectly under your under eye to set it with powder. It fits right under there. I actually used to love this as my highlight brush. I would apply my highlight, but I needed a good under eye brush to set my powder, and I didn't like how, because I would use this for my highlight and then I'd wipe it off and then I'd use it, which in a real world you could definitely use this for both a highlight and to set your under eyes, but I don't like to have to wipe it off all the time, so I actually have a different brush now that I use to use my highlight. So this bad boy is just to set my under eye, and it's perfect. The shape of it is perfect. It fits right in those under eye areas, and it's just perfect. So this is the F35. Now for my highlight, I found this brush, and this is the Morphe M501, and it looks like this, and as you can see, if you compare the two next to each other, it's like a little baby. It's like the little mini version, and this is by Morphe, and this one is by Sigma. So this one is the M501, and like I said, I use this to apply my highlight because it's smaller, so it really just applies the highlight in the areas that you want to. I'll do it on the tip of my nose, on my cupid's bow. Sometimes I'll highlight above my brow bone, and this just works perfect. It's like the perfect highlight brush. So if you are looking for a highlight brush, I would highly, highly recommend the M501 by Morphe. And let's see, the last two brushes, actually the last three brushes for my face are, this is the Morphe M459, and it looks like this. Now, you may be thinking, like, that's a really crazy, like, sharp brush. I actually bought this because of Jaclyn Hill here on YouTube, and lately I've been doing the whole baking technique on your face, which if you guys aren't aware of the baking technique, you might be like, what the hell is that? But it's just to really set your face so that it does not budge all day, and you just really apply. I'll do a video on it if you guys want to see like my whole contour highlight baking technique, but this works so good to dip in your powder and just really like sharpen up your contour, and it just works amazing. I'm sure you could use, look at all the powder coming out of this. But I'm sure you could use this like if you're like feeling like on the, you know, crazy side a little. You could definitely contour with this, but you might, I don't know, I've never tried it for contouring, but it does have that like dense like shape, and like it's really sharp, so you could get a contour with this, but you have to like really probably work on it and blend it out. But this is the M459. If you are a big fan of baking your face, then you would really like this because it really applies that like sharp edge and really sharpens up everything nicely. So I really like that brush. Now the brush that I use to set my whole face, like I'll do my foundation and then I'll set my whole face and then I'll go in and highlight, contour, whatever. And I use this brush every day, and this is the e.l.f. Kabuki face brush. You can find this at Target, probably Walmart, Walgreens, anywhere probably. And this is just such a nice fluffy brush. It covers a big amount of area on your face, so you're not sitting there for 10 hours trying to set your foundation. So this is just a really good brush. I've been using this for a couple years now. Obviously I've replaced it, but this is just an amazing brush, and it's not expensive. It's by e.l.f. So if you're looking for kind of like a big fluffy brush just to set your face, or even if you apply like a powder foundation instead of a liquid foundation, you can use this to apply that. So I would really recommend this one as well. And this doesn't really, I mean, you can't buy this brush separately, but if you are aware of the Benefit Hoola bronzer, this brush comes with it. And if you have watched any of my like foundation routine or any of my other makeup tutorials, you will see that I use this to contour with. This is another brush that I love for contouring. It comes with the Benefit Hoola bronzer. You can't buy this separate, but it kind of reminds me of the NARS Ita brush, if you've ever heard of that, except obviously it's looks different. It's a shorter version, but I feel like the bristles are the same shape, and it's kind of like the perfect, I don't know, I just use it all the time. It fits right in there to apply your contour, and then you just kind of blend it away, and it just is so smooth. I used it one day and I randomly just was like, holy crap, like I love the way this applies my contour. Most people like chuck this brush, and I'm like, no, don't chuck it. It actually works good if you try it. Okay, so moving on to eye brushes. These are a bunch of brushes that I highly recommend. You obviously don't need to go out and buy every single one of these, but I over time have, you know, I have a lot more brushes that I use as well, but these ones are my favorites. And there's a mixture of Sigma and Morphe in here, and I think there's a few e.l.f. brushes here. So I'm gonna first talk about, actually this one is by Anastasia, and this is the this is what I use for my brows. If I'm using a powder to fill in my brows that day, I will use this. And this is perfect because it has the little spoolie on the end to comb up your eyebrows, and then it has this little angled side to really fill in and shape your brows. This brush is amazing. You need to try this brush. If you are somebody that likes to fill in your brows with powder, this is an amazing brush and I love it. I would highly recommend it. Next, my favorite blending brush of all time is the Sigma E40. This brush is just my baby. Like, it's amazing. It has this fluffy, like, feeling to it, and when you put it in your eyes, it really just feels so like luxurious, and it's like, it's really not expensive. It's just such a nice brush, and it just blends in that eyeshadow. Like if you're, you know, doing a smoky eye or you need a transition shade, I always use this. It's good for like if you're trying to blend out a big area. If you're trying to do like a precise crease, I wouldn't use this brush, but I always use this brush as my first, you know, color. I'll go in with like a skin tone shade and I'll apply this into my crease with this, like really fluffy, and then I'll go in with like a smaller brush that I'll talk about soon, and I'll go in and I'll use that to apply in my crease, and then I'll go back in with the E40 and really just blend it out, and it gives you an amazing flawless like blend. And I'm telling you, brushes make such a difference when you're doing your eye makeup. I used to never think that they did before I started doing like wedding makeup and all of that. I used to think like, you know, why do I need all these brushes? You know, I could just use one brush, but all these different brushes make such a difference, and you will see what I'm talking about. If you go out and just buy a few and start playing around with them, you're gonna be like, how did I do my eye makeup without like these brushes? Like, I know it sounds crazy, but just give it a try, and I promise you, if you're looking for like an everyday kind of big fluffy crease blending brush, try the Sigma E40. It's amazing and it will not do you wrong. I've had this for years, like I said, and I've used it on so many people for prom, weddings. I've used it on myself. I've used it on friends, and it's just my baby. Like if I go somewhere, you know, if I stay somewhere for the weekend or anything like that and I forget this brush, I'm like, I can't do my makeup. So next is this Morphe M432, and it looks like this. It's a really like dense, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just really short and stubby, and it looks like this, and I really like this brush for when I'm trying to smoke out the lower lash line, because it has that really nice, it's hard to show like what it looks like, but it really just gets in the lash line and just really smokes it out. I used this today to do that, and then I also smoked out my top liner with this, and I really, really like this. So this is the Morphe M432. Okay, so next up is this Morphe M433 brush. I adore this brush. This brush is so like, you need this brush. You just need it. So what this brush is really like amazing for is for just really getting into the crease and just focusing. It fits perfect in the crease, and it just really blends out your shade. Like stunning. You will not have any sharp lines. If you're looking for that kind of dramatic, you know, crease, but you still want it a little blended, this works perfect because of the shape of it. It really just gets in that crease, but it also kind of buffs it out as well so that it just looks really flawless, and I adore this brush. I use these two brushes together as a team. I'll go in with my first shade with the E40, and then I'll go back in with the M433, and I really focus in that crease, and then I'll go back in with the E40, blend it out, and just keep repeating the process. Next up is the M441 brush by Morphe as well, and this is a really, really good transition shade brush. It kind of reminds me of the Sigma E40, but it has a little bit more of a point to it, so it also is really good for blending away any sharp lines or just really buffing the crease out, and this is just an amazing brush as well. Next is this little cute E36 Morphe brush, and it looks like this. It's a really small brush, and it has a really small tip to it, and I really, really like this brush to apply my inner corner like shade with. If I want a pop of color in the inner corner, I will go in with a shade and place it right in the inner corner, and it just brightens it up really nicely. Also, if I'm trying to highlight like my Cupid's bow, this is a really small, nice brush for this as well. You could also use this, you know, in the crease if you're really trying to get like a cut crease look and you need a really small kind of pencil brush. This would be good as well. You could also use this to smoke out the lower lash line, so it just works for many different purposes, and it's just a really amazing brush. So that's the E36. Next is the Morphe E11, and it looks like this. It is an angled synthetic brush, and I use this to carve out my eyebrows. So what I will do is I will fill in my brows like normal, and I will put concealer on the back of my hand, and I'll place this brush into the concealer, and I'll really just clean up my under eyebrow with that, and it really gives a nice, sharp, detailed, crisp line, and it works amazing for this. When I bought this, I just kind of wanted to try it out. I didn't know what I was going to use it for exactly, so I bought it and I just, you know, used it for different things, and I find that this works really good for that. It's a little bit bigger than like your typical angled brush, so I feel like it covers a lot of space when you're going in and cleaning up your brow, and it works really, really nicely for that. So if you're looking for like a nice angled brush to clean up your eyebrows or anything else, you would really, really like the E11 brush. This is the e.l.f. contour brush, and I found this actually probably like a month or two ago, and I got this from Target, and it looks like this, and it's a really dense, small kind of rounded brush, and this brush is really, really amazing. It works really good for your crease. So if you're looking for a crease brush, this works really nicely. It doesn't really blend out the color, so it's good for really just placing a darker shade into the crease, and then you can go in with another like blending brush, blend it out, and then go back in with this. This does blend it a little bit, but this is an amazing brush. I didn't know how much I would like it until I used it, and I really, really, really highly recommend the e.l.f. brushes. The e.l.f. brushes in the, I think they're the Studio line, they're black like this, they work really, really nicely. So if you are also looking for like an alternative of like cheaper brushes, you can go try the e.l.f. brushes. You don't have to go buy every single brush I was talking about. The e.l.f. brushes work just as good, but the Sigma and Morphe brushes are just, they're amazing. I'm telling you, they work so good. They're not crazy expensive. I mean, they're not like $1, but you know, they are worth the money. They last a long time. So let me talk about cleaner. So to keep your brushes nice and to keep them from, you know, just not breaking, but like the bristles getting all gross, you really just want to keep them clean, especially if you're using them on clients. Just even yourself, you don't want to spread bacteria. If you're using, you know, a different brush for your face and then you're going in the next day and you're using that same brush, you're going to spread bacteria, and that can cause acne and breakouts, and we all don't want that. So the cleaner that I use is the Blender Cleanser by Solid, and it's by Beauty Blender. So you can find this at Sephora, and it looks like this, and it's really convenient because you open the lid and there's like a soap inside, and it just stays in there. It doesn't move. And what you do, or what I do, is I wet the soap, and then I'll go in with one of my brushes, wet my brush a little, and I'll just go in circular motions and just really, really deep clean the brush, and then I'll go in with my hand and really just soaping the brush up and make sure it's really, really clean, and then I'll wet that. Now, the most important part of letting your brushes dry is you don't want to let them dry facing up, because the water will trickle down here and it will loosen up the glue and your brush will be ruined, and we don't want that either. So what I would recommend is just really laying them onto like a towel overnight and just letting them dry on the side. It would work really nicely. Or they also sell, I think, you know, brush holders where you can let them hang kind of upside down so all the water comes out this way and it won't cause anything to break. So I love this Beauty Blender cleaner. I also use this to clean my Beauty Blender. I'll wet the sponge, get it nice and soapy, and clean it up, and this just really is such an easy way to clean your brushes, and it's really, really gentle on your brushes. It's meant for brushes and the sponges. So I would really recommend a cleaner. it's worth the money if you are just wanting to get brushes and have a nice collection and really just get good in doing your makeup. I would highly recommend all these brushes that I talked about, or if you just want to try, you know, starting off with a few. It makes such a difference. It's like if you're a painter and you have, you know, a canvas and you use, you know, not so good materials, your painting is not going to come out as good as it can. So if you know, use the money and you buy the brushes and you buy the good makeup, your makeup is going to come out better, and it's just worth it. And like I said, if you guys have any questions about any of these brushes, just let me know in the comments. I'm going to leave a list of all of the brushes I talked about down below. So if you want to go head over to Sigma or Morphe and make your order, you can have a list of all the brushes that I talked about. And the Beauty Blender Cleaner you can find at Sephora. You could probably find this at Amazon or somewhere else, but I got mine from Sephora, and I think this is the size it comes in. I don't know if there's a bigger one or not, but when I first started with makeup, you know, I didn't have this many brushes. I just started off with a few and then, you know, gradually over time build it up and just made my collection even larger. I have a lot more brushes than this, but like I said, these are my favorites, and these are brushes that I would really, really recommend. The other brushes are just kind of extras if I run out, or, you know, just other brands. But I hope this video was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, just leave a comment down below and let me know, and I will get back to you. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and if it was helpful, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! For face, this one is actually pretty new to me, and this is the Morphe M523, and it looks like this, and I really have been loving this for doing my contour. I really like this brush because you can really just get a nice contour with it and kind of buff it out after, and it just works really nicely for that. This is the M523. So if you're looking for a contour brush, then you should try this one because it's really nice. Now for blush, I love this brush, and this is the Morphe E4, and it is in the shape of a little angle, and as you can see, I have some blush on there. I use this as well today, and this just fits. I haven't entered that. It's already up actually, so just go enter that. And I'm actually giving away one of these, and this is the Real Techniques Beauty Blender, and this sponge is amazing. It's what I use to blend in my concealer, and sometimes I will use this for foundation. You just wet it under the faucet and squeeze out the water, and then it will kind of expand and get bigger. It's wet right now because I just washed it. So this just blends in your foundation amazing. If you're having problems blending in your foundation, this just blends it in so easily, and it looks airbrushed. So I would really recommend a beauty sponge. This one is by Real Techniques. You can find this at Ulta, or and each brush that I talk about, you can type in the search bar and find them, and I just would really recommend. They're not crazy expensive, and they're just really worth the money. They work amazing. So this one I use to buff my foundation in. I kind of just stipple it on my face like this. You don't really want to like rub your foundation in because it's just gonna make a mess and move your foundation around. You just kind of want to blot it into your face, and then you can buff it a little bit afterwards after you kind of melt it into your face. So this I like to use on and off between the Beauty Blender and the brush. But I would really recommend this brush. It is an amazing brush. So next,
I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about makeup brushes and the brushes that I would recommend, ones that I use on the daily. And this video is not sponsored by any of these companies. I truly love all of these brushes, and I've purchased them all on my own. So I'm going to start off with the first thing that I wanted to talk about, which is actually in my giveaway. So if you have probably online. But yeah, there's also the beauty blenders that you can buy at Sephora. They're $20. This is probably around $7 or $8, and I like this one better than the beauty blender, but I also used the beauty blender for years. So either one of those would work, but yeah, I love this, so I would highly recommend this if you're looking for a way to just blend in your foundation. Also, I like to switch it up, and I use the Morphe E31. This is a foundation brush, and it looks like this. It has like a flat top, and it's a little dirty because I used it today, but like I said, it's the Morphe E31, and the Morphe brushes are just amazing. You can go to the Morphe website